Namaste and welcome to your third chakra practice. So we're working with the fire element and we're going to be working with this part of our body. If you listen to the intro, you already know all of that. So we're going to start by creating a little bit of heat. Perhaps you have some candles, some twinkle lights at the top of your mat. I've got my fire going here, but let's create a little bit of heat in our hands. And then bring one hand to your belly, just above your belly button, and one hand to your back if your shoulder allows, and close your eyes. And just begin to feel into that warmth of your hands radiating into your torso. And then as you exhale, feel that heat from your torso, from your solar plexus, radiating back out into your hands. This is your inner fire, Agni as it is called in the practice of yoga. So take one more breath here like this, just feeling that heat and that warmth. And then we're going to come into a mudra. So we're going to place left hand just flat down in front of you and create a fist with your thumb pointing up and let that rest just in front of your belly on top of that left hand. So this is called Agni Mudra, which helps to ignite the fire within. And so we're also going to start our practice with Kapata. So we did this last week, and we're going to just do one round in the beginning, and then we're going to utilize some Kapata in our asana practices, in some of our postures. So we'll do it once here just to get into the mode so that it's not foreign to us when we get to our postures. Oh, I forgot to start my timer. So let's take a deep inhale, fill with breath. You can have eyes open or closed. Slow exhale, release everything out. Take one more inhale, and then we start with that forced exhale of the belly. The inhale happens on its own. You can go slow or you can go faster if you're more experienced. If you're new to this, go a little bit slower. So it's a forced exhale out the nose by drawing the belly in forcefully and then releasing, and the inhale happens passively on its own. Keep going with your breath. And begin to connect with those muscles that allow that forced pulling of the belly towards the spine. And that pulling of the belly towards the spine pushes the diaphragm out, forces the air out like you're forcing air out of bellows. Keep going, a couple more breaths. And then exhale everything out. Take a normal inhale, and we're going to pause at the top of our inhale. You can have arms out to the side, parallel to the floor at the top of your inhale with thumbs pointing up if you wish, or let your hands remain on your thighs. But stay rising at the top of that inhale, just like the flame rising. We pause at the top of our breath. Hold a little bit longer if you're able without strain, and then release your hands down to your thighs as you exhale. Let all the breath go and just come back into your normal breath for a couple of rounds. And then we're going to move into Mushti Mudra, which is really helpful for releasing anger. And if you listen to the intro, I talked a little bit about the collective anger with everything that's going on politically and in the world, with all the division that's happening everywhere. And this just helps us to have a healthy way to release anger. So basically, we start with our hands wide, and we'll reach up like this with fingers really wide. And as we exhale, kind of like Kapata, we're going to bring the hands down, curl into fist over top of your thumb over top of your fingers, sorry. And this is the exhale breath. And then we inhale to reach up and exhale, squeezing into fists. And this is to help with the release of anger, and we're going to do it like Kapadabali. So inhale, reach up, exhale, inhale. So fingers sprayed wide as you inhale, exhale, fists. Inhale, you can go nice and slow, or you can go fast. You can do it out your mouth. Or do it like a Kapadabali. Whichever method you're doing, keep going for a couple more rounds. Think about whatever it is you might have been angry about, or any anger you might have been feeling, and letting it go through this action of creating heat and transforming that anger into nectar that you can use. And one more breath. Release your hands down, close your eyes, just feel into whatever you're feeling, sensations in your body, in your mind, in your energy, as we work to transform anger into right relationship. And from here, we're going to make our way onto our backs. And if you have a block, grab a block. If you don't have a block, sorry, I forgot to say this at the beginning. If you don't have a block, have a towel or something firm that you can roll up to squeeze between your thighs. And we're going to do a little exercise just to activate those inner core muscles, the inner solar plexus. So start by lying on your back, just making sure that you can still see me. Feet grounded, squeezing into your block. So we're activating a little bit of core just with that action. Bring your hands behind your head, elbows wide, head is down. So we're going to do a double exhale here. So we're going to keep our elbows wide. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, just lift up a little bit, but keep the elbows wide. And then exhale a little bit more, draw the belly in more, and at the same time press your head into your hands and release down to inhale. We're just going to do that a couple more times and start to feel those inner deep muscles. Take an inhale, exhale, lift up slightly, elbows stay wide. Press your head back and exhale even more. Draw the belly in more. Release down to inhale. Let's do it again. Lift up slightly, elbows wide as you exhale. Press your head back. Draw the belly in more. Exhale more. Release down. Let's do one more. Take a deep inhale. Lift to exhale. Elbows stay wide. Press the head back into your hands. Draw the belly in more as you exhale more. Release down to inhale. Let's do one more time, but this time we're going to raise one leg and do the same thing. So I've got my right leg raised up, kind of at an angle, so I'm still squeezing my block. Everything else remains the same. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, lift, draw the belly in, press the head, keep squeezing your block, draw the belly in more. Release to inhale. Let's switch sides. Extend your left leg straight up at an angle. Take an inhale, exhale, lift, elbows are wide, belly draws in, press the head back, draw the belly in more, squeeze your block. Release down on an inhale. Let your block go just to feel into that sensation of finding those deep core muscles. And place your block off to the side. And then we're going to do one more exercise on our back here. As we inhale, I'm going to reach arms overhead and reach the soles of the feet up to the sky. So our body's in like an L shape here. Take an inhale here. As we exhale, bend the knees, draw knees to the heart, thighs to the belly, and reach your arms forward. Lift head and shoulders up, draw the belly in. Inhale, come back to your starting position. Feet reach up, arms reach overhead. Exhale, lift up, curl into yourself like you're curling into a little seed. Head towards your knees. Inhale, back to your start. Let's do 3 more like this. Exhale, curl up. Forehead to your knees, knees to your forehead. Arms reach. Inhale. Legs and arms get long. Exhale, we curl it in. Inhale. And exhale, curl it in, reach. Last one. You should be feeling a little bit of activation here in the solar plexus. And now release, grab the back of your thighs and rock and roll a couple of times on purpose here. Like 3 times just to rock and roll on your back, and then come up to a seat. Make your way onto hands and knees for cat-cow. So as we inhale, just allowing an opening of the front body, that solar plexus that we were just activating. And as we exhale, draw the belly in towards your spine once again. Inhale, open, release. And exhale, draw in, curl it in, kind of like you just did on your back. One more time. And this time, let's curl our toes under as we exhale. Let's find downward facing dog. On our next inhale, we're going to come forward to plank pose. And then exhale back, downward facing dog. So we're going to do this 3 times. And we can change it up a little bit. And let's do that. Let's bend our knees so our belly draws towards our thighs. And you might actually feel your belly on your thighs. And then inhale forward to plank. Exhale, bend the knees, draw the belly to the thighs. Inhale, forward to plank. One more time. Exhale, belly lands on the thighs. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. Let's exhale back and then lift the sit bones high, coming into your downward facing dog. Take one more inhale, and as we exhale, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Inhale to lift your heart, exhale to bow, and inhale to rise up and draw into your heart center. So we're going to do I'm going to use another mudra, hopefully not get you confused with all these mudras we're using. But we're going to use a mudra called Kali mudra, and that's intertwining your fingers, leaving the index finger out, hopefully you can see that, and crossing your thumbs. So Kali mudra is to cut through negative emotions, cut through anger, whatever you might need to release. And we're also going to use wood chopper, which is a great heat building movement, as well as release for heavy emotions or anger or negativity. And so all we're going to do, feet are wide, we inhale, up, look up, think of what you want to release. And as we exhale, we bend the knees and send it out behind us like we're chopping wood. Inhale up and exhale out your mouth. Ha! Add that ha sound, let it go. Inhale up, exhale, ha! And let's just keep moving now. Ha! 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 2 more. Ha! Ha! And inhale up and exhale, release your hands down. Let's just take a couple of breaths here in your mountain pose. Hopefully you can just take a moment for present moment awareness and feel that warmth, that heat moving through your body as we're starting to move things around with that fire element. Take a couple more breaths. I actually have to turn my flame down just a smidge because it's getting pretty warm on this November day, believe it or not. So we're going to work just with a couple of sun salutations because we're doing 30-minute classes. We're not going to do a lot, but we want to just warm up a little bit. And sun salutations are the classic way to warm up and honor the sun, both the literal sun as well as the sun within us. So let's just start, and we're going to use some lunges in there as well. So let's inhale, reach up to the sky. Maybe you invite a back bend as we lift the ribs and shine our light out. And then exhale to bow to the earth. Belly draws in. Inhale, we lift our heart, hands either to your shins or fingertips to blocks or your mat. Let's step the right foot to the back of the mat. And we're going to rise up from our lunge position, high up on your back toes. Let's come into our runner's lunge. So keep the head reaching forward, the heel reaching back, and lift up from the power of your belly, arms reaching out behind you. And then we'll inhale, come into our Kali Mudra as we reach up into a crescent lunge, lifting the heart. And as we exhale, let's bend the elbows. We're going to twist to our left. So twists are also really good for igniting that fire in the belly and the digestion. So you can have your hands at heart center in prayer. Sorry, I've got my back to you. Take one more breath. And then we release hands down to the mat, stepping back into our plank pose. Let's work with our plank pose a little bit here and our bringing our feet wide. Keep both hands down on your mat and turn your toes to the right. So this gets into a little bit of our side body. Come back to center. Turn toes to the left. Come back to center. And then lower down. You can lower your knees down, lower down knees, chin, chest. I think I got to turn around because I might disappear behind my fire. Or you can lower through chaturanga, but we're all going to come down to our belly. Draw the heart forward. Extend the legs long. We're going to start by rising in a cobra, just a baby cobra. Shoulders away from the ears, neck long. Now stay up in your cobra, feel your belly pressing into the earth, and lift your hands and begin to reach them wide. Again, bring your awareness to the belly, pressing into the mat, drawing away from the mat on your exhales, and then bring your hands to point behind you, palms facing together. Keep reaching long through your crown, and maybe you might even float your legs up. So now we're working with that area 360 degrees, not just our belly, but strengthening the back as well. So we have a strong backbone, setting boundaries, being able to say no. Take one more breath. And exhale, release down. Take a big breath into your belly, forehead on the back of your hands. Exhale it out. Release your hands under your shoulders. Press up and back, child's pose. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's float that right leg to the sky in three-legged dog. And as we exhale, step that foot up between your hands. If you can't quite step it up between your hands, step it wide and then walk it in. And we're going to rise into our runner's lunge here. So strong through the legs. Send the hands out behind you. Lift the belly off of your thigh as you reach the back heel back and the crown forward. Arms are active. And then from the strength of your belly, we're rising up to crescent moon with Kali Mudra. Reaching it up. You can also think of this Kali Mudra like that rising flame up to the sky. And I just realized I turned around. I'm going to have my back to you again. Take an inhale. As we exhale, draw your hands through heart center, palms together, twist to your right. So if catching your left elbow on that front knee doesn't work for you, bring your forearm to that front knee, right hand to your hip. Take one more breath here. And then as we exhale, hands come down to the mat. We're going to step our left foot forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, bow. And inhale, rise up and down through your heart center. Take a breath in your mountain pose. We're going to move through sun salutation one more time, but adding a few more poses in as we move through. Have a block at the top of your mat, if you wish, because we are going to be moving into half moon pose, and that can be really handy to have at the top of your mat. So let's inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, let's step our left foot to the back of our mat. And this time we're going to rise straight up into our crescent moon. So reaching up, our hands come together, Kali Mudra. Front knee is bent, up on our back toes, creating that flame-like shape as we reach up through the index fingers. And then we're going to move into Warrior 3. All the warrior poses are excellent for finding that strong warrior energy. So you can keep your fingers reaching up as we begin to shift forward, or you can also draw to your heart center if that's not appropriate for you. But you can use that back foot to kind of shift yourself forward, reaching in both directions. That standing knee can be a little bit bent. Whoops. And then we're gracefully going to step that left foot back down. Draw your hands through your heart center, and we're opening into Warrior 2. I'm going to turn around. So, in our Warrior 2, again, another strong warrior energy pose, looking over your front fingers. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to shift forward into half moon pose. So you can bring your left hand, you can bring both hands down if you wish, or just bring your right hand to your block. And you can kind of give yourself a little boost with that, step that back foot closer if you need to, and rise up into your half moon pose. So half moon pose, just think about radiating your light like a star in 5 directions right from your center. In all directions. Take one more breath. And then we're softly going to bring that foot down. We're going to step back into plank pose. And I'm going to give you an option here. You can stay in full plank. You can lower your knees. And you can just stay here, but I'm also going to invite you to move into Kapati Boli breath in your plank pose. So take a deep inhale and begin. One more round. And then lower all the way down to your mat on an exhale. Draw the heart forward, either cobra or press up into upward facing dog. And if you've chosen upward facing dog, release yourself back down to the mat. Come to your belly. And we're going to come into bow pose, which is really good for regulating our solar plexus chakra. So if you can't reach your heels, you can reach back towards your feet with knees bent, or you can come into Salabhasana. If you can reach your ankles, go ahead and open into bow pose and feel that pressure on the solar plexus, balancing with earth energy. And feel your breath pour into the heart center. One more breath. And we release it down. Hands under your forehead. Couple breaths here. You can rock your hips from side to side. And then we press back to child's pose. And inhale up. Find downward facing dog. Take one more breath here. The bottom of your exhale, step, walk. Actually, no, let's stay in downward facing dog. Let's float left leg to the sky in three-legged dog. And as we exhale, we're going to move to our second side. Crescent lunge from the power of your belly. Bring your palms together, rise up. Crescent moon, Kali Mudra. Find your breath here. Shining your light as we lift the ribs. Find your stability in that left foot. And then we begin to move forward into our warrior three. Softly place the back foot down. Hands to your heart center. We're opening to warrior two. And I'm backwards once again. Whoops. I'm just going to turn around. So find your warrior strength in your warrior two. So in our warrior, we have the strength of our earth element, our first chakra, the opening of the pelvis and our second chakra, and then feel that radiance on every exhale as the belly draws in, pressing that energy, sending that energy into all of our limbs. And then we're moving into half moon pose. So again, you can just bring your right hand to your hip, or you can bring both hands down to 2 blocks or fingertips to the mat as we move into half moon on your second side, and imagining that star-like light radiating from your center to out both hands, both legs, the crown of your head in 5 directions. Take one more breath. And gently float that back leg down. Step back, downward facing dog. Take one more breath here in your down dog. And we're going to move forward to the top of our mat, stepping, walking, or floating. The heart lifts as you inhale. The belly draws in as you exhale and bow. Inhale, we rise up and draw to your heart center. Take a big step back. I'm stepping back with my right foot, but whatever foot works so that you can see where we're going next. So take a pause with your feet parallel to start, and just pause and notice the energy and the warmth and the fire moving throughout your body, this heat, this healing energy moving through all of your cells. We're almost there. Okay, so let's turn our toes out for goddess pose. Excuse me. Inhale, reach up, our Kali Mudra. Exhale, bend the knees. So I'm going to give you an option. If you're really feeling into the Kapalabhati and you want to do another round of Kapalabhati, let's try another round here. If it's just too much, just stay with Kali Mudra in your goddess pose. So if you want to do Kapalabhati, we're going to do it short. Take an inhale and exhale to start. And take a nice big inhale. And as we exhale, release your hands down. Straighten your legs for a moment. We don't want to burn ourselves out here, but we're getting near the end of class. Let's reach up again. This time bend the elbows, palms, fingers wide into our typical goddess pose, but we're going to add a little extra core strengthening into this. So I'm going to take an inhale, and as we exhale, right hand is going to come down to the mat. And now my right foot is going to lift up and reach out and across to the left. So we're working with a little bit of core here. My top arm is reaching overhead. So let's bring that foot back. Come back into our goddess pose. So I have some issues with my right knee. And if you have some knee issues, I should have said this on the first one, We can use a block here so that brings the floor up to you a little bit so you don't have to bend as deeply. So take an inhale in your goddess. As we exhale, bring that hand down to your block or to the mat and bring the left leg out. Reach that top arm overhead. Feel the side core muscles working. And then let's bring it back. Goddess pose. Do you want to do that again? Let's straighten the legs, release. This is going to be our last hard thing we're going to do, so let's make it count. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, goddess pose. Take an inhale, right hand comes down. Step the right foot through and across. Bring it back. Goddess pose. Take an inhale. Second side. Bring the left hand down. This is my tricky side. Reach the left foot through. Bring it back. Goddess pose. And release. It's getting really warm in here with this fire. Let's just take a moment's pause to bring it down a little bit. Hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the heart. Bring your feet back to being parallel. As we exhale, we fold forward. Release your hands down to your mat or to your shins or your ankles or even to your big toe. I'm just going to release my hands to the mat. And then inhale up halfway. I have a little puppy outside who really wants to come in the teepee. And we're going to make our way down to our knees from here, facing the long side of your mat for gate pose. Move the block out of the way. We're almost at our 30-minute mark. We're probably going to go about 5 minutes over. So you might want some extra padding on your knee, possibly. We're going to extend our right foot out to the side. Now you can keep that foot down. You can also turn your toes up to the sky. So right hand stays on your right leg. Reach the left hand up. And think about lifting the whole rib cage up to let your light shine out. And let's side bend over towards that right leg in our gate pose. And we're lifting those ribs up even more, maybe even looking up, shining your light out into the world. Take one more breath here. And then come back to center. Keep going with that left hand until it comes down to the floor on your left side. Use that left knee like a kickstand. Reach your right arm up to the sky, and maybe you float the right leg up. This is kind of like the half moon pose that we just did. Think about radiating that starlight energy out into the world, sparkling. Let your sparkle shine. And then bring that right foot down if you've lifted it. Come back up. Bring both hands to your belly. Draw that knee in. Come back to both knees. I've got some funny little ridges here on my boards. And let's extend the left foot out to the side to move over a little bit. So let your left hand come to your left leg. Reach your right arm up to the sky. Get long. And then let's side bend over to your left. Think about lifting your ribs up and over, maybe looking up. Shine your light out. Let that inner light sparkle out to the world. One more breath here. And then let's come back up. Keep going with that right hand until it comes down to the floor. Maybe you float that foot up or maybe you keep it down. Your choice. Maybe you reach that top arm up as well. So this really gets into the side hips, but also we're working almost like a little bit of side plank here with our side 360 degrees of our torso. Let's bring that foot down, come back up, hands to your belly, draw the knee in, feel that warmth radiating from the solar plexus. And then we're going to come down to a seat. Let's release a little bit through the core. Let's let the feet be wide on your mat, and just windshield washer. And as you inhale, knees to the side, lift your heart a little bit and bring some length into that front body. And then come back to center. I'm going to offer you some options for boat pose, which is our last thing before we lie on our backs. So you can start by coming onto your elbows and knees are bent. And just lift your shins parallel to the floor. Draw your belly button towards your spine. And this can be your boat pose here. There's lots happening, and it's not as much in the hip flexors as when we lift up. I feel this a lot more in my hip flexors. But you choose which variation of boat pose, Navasana, you would like to go with. For one more breath. And then we're releasing down. If you're in full boat, you might want to do a really slow lower until you come all the way down. Bend your knees, arms wide, shins parallel to the floor or feet grounded, your choice. We're bringing the knees over to the right on an exhale and opening up through all that side body, through that whole torso area that we worked with today, releasing any excess gripping or tension. And then using your next inhale to come back to center, exhale to the other side. Release through this side, let your eyes close, let the breath start to come down. And then come back to center. Give yourself a hug. You did it. You found your power. You were powerful warriors today. You deserve a beautiful Shavasana. So gather whatever you need to for your Shavasana, socks and sweaters, blankets, bolsters. Let yourself be wide and expansive here. Bring your awareness of your flame in your belly center to your mind. Set your timer or set your song that you're going to listen to for at least 3 minutes, hopefully more like 5 to 7 minutes. Have a wonderful Shavasana, and we'll see you on your mat for your next practice. Namaste. Have an amazing Shavasana and an amazing day.